Okay, I see we have 10 people online so far. We're going to wait a few seconds, guys, for some people to come in. Welcome for those of you who have joined us to the BDC webinar, Understanding Apps for Small Business. We're glad that you're here. I see numbers ticking up. So I'm going to wait a few minutes and hopefully not have this awkward silence, but yeah. Okay, so we have 16. Let's kick off because it's lunchtime. I'm sure some of you guys took some time out to be with us. And so thank you. Thank you for all our attendees and thank you for all of our presenters. We have a great list of, or great group of presenters who are entrepreneurs in their own right. And then what they're going to do is talk about their experience utilizing and deploying apps for their business and how wonderful they are. Again, thank you and welcome. Hopefully you all can see my, guys, am I sharing my screen still? I am. Okay. So this is going to be the course of events, right? We're going to look at 9, is it 9? Yep, 9 apps. So you see the categories here: accounting, marketing, scheduling, social media, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to say, let's get kicked off. We've got Kalina Otterbridge. Kalina is a BDC colleague. She is in the finance side. So Kalina, I'm going to hand it over to you. You can fill in the gaps and kick off with accounting.
Thank you, Dante. And I just want to say good morning to everyone. My name is Kalina Otterbridge, and I am the Business Data and Policy Analyst at BDC. I also have my own business, which is Quantify Consulting Services, which provides financial, accounting, and bookkeeping services. So in my current role at BDC, as well as my business, I use QuickBooks, and it's very instrumental financial tool to use, not only to be able to enter information for your vendors or your customers, but also to be able to tell all your income, all your expenses, and then to produce financial statements that's going to be easily produced by those reports to tell the financial health and wealth of your business. So for me, I would say that QuickBooks is a very it's very easy to use, and that's because it's something that I use quite frequently. It's not something that you need an accounting background for. It's not necessarily something that you would necessarily need math for, because it is very easy to use. It is very interactive, and I think if it's something that you're using frequently, you will get to learn the ins and outs. It is very user friendly, so if there is information you're inputting, it will ask you to, are you sure you want to do this? And so that is making sure that, all the information in there is correct. You're inputting it for the right period, so that when you're producing those reports that you're going to use, making sure that that data is current data. So I am going to share my screen in a few minutes and just go through some of the most important features that QuickBooks will have. So Dante, you allow me to share? Okay. So QuickBooks is you can use a desktop version of it, or you can use the online. For QuickBooks Desktop, the cost is fairly high, but the good thing about it is once you pay that one-time fee, there's no other fees. So you will get updates on a regular basis, but that will be automatic updates and not anything that you have to pay again. We at BDC put on a QuickBooks course. It is an 8-week course, and with that subscription, you get the software as well. So it's free software included in learning how to use the software, as well as giving a deep dive into what the figures are that you're putting in, what is an asset, and just making sure your income and asset So we go into a lot more information in theory, but then we also want to go through the QuickBooks part of it to be able to show you, how to put in this information. And then when you're printing your reports, what does this information mean? So if you look at my screen that I'm sharing, this is what the QuickBooks Desktop looks like. And so you would see it has the information about your company. So once you sign up, you log in, you put all your business information. You can set up different users if you need to. You would set up your start date and end date for the business. It has planning and budgeting, so that's a plus for businesses starting up or businesses in general. You can set up a cash flow forecast, so that's for if I'm starting a business and I want to know how much money I want to make, how much money I want to make for the year, or what my expenses are going to look like. I can set that up for the future to be able to say, this is what I want to make, or what my budget is going to look like. So if I need a budget, stationery and different things like that, how much can I afford to pay in these expenses, and how much money I need to bring in to make sure that I'm covering all my costs plus making a profit. So these are some great things that it has. It has journal entries if you need to do that. It also has a chart of account. So this is, a software that you're going to use that's going to be able to tell you, what your accounts are going to look like, setting up your bank account statement, setting up all your income accounts and expenses. And it goes through every step. Once you set up an account, it will ask you, is this an expense or an income? But it also gives you a drop down to tell you what income actually is and what expenses is. So it takes you through all the steps. So that's the company that's going to tell you all the information about your year end and different things like that, setting up your chart of accounts. Then you also have your customers. So setting up your customers is also another important aspect. That's going to be anybody that owes you and any funds. So you want to make sure that you're keeping track of that information. If you've sent out a bill, it's going to say that this person owed you at the end of July $100. So it may be October and that person is still outstanding. So you would be able to run a report to see all the people that owe you funds. So that part is going to be, that report is going to be a very important part of your business. Depending on what your business is, it also creates estimates. So say, for instance, if you do maintenance or you paint people's houses and someone comes up to you and says, I want to know how much it's going to cost to paint my house. You can create an estimate or a quote for that job. You can send it to them. And then if they're okay with the estimate that you've provided, then you can produce an invoice from that account. So this is your create estimates. And so it asks you what the job is. It asks you different descriptions. So if you had to do labor and materials, you can put all that information in. A lot of that information you can customize and save it. And so that if you had to do another quote, you just click on that item and it will bring it up. So you don't have to put in this information every time you're going. It's something that you can put in once. You can put in the rate. If you charge out a rate of $25, if you charge out a rate of $50, you can put that information in. And so every time you're doing a painting job and it's $25, you put paint in there, put that quantity, and that rate would already pop up. You would put in your date of the invoice, your name and address, and it also allows you to customize your message. So you can put in there, please, about your quote, you can say, if this quote is sufficient, please authorize it so that they know that they can produce the invoice. You can also say, please remit the funds to this bank account, so at least they don't have to worry about where they're sending the funds, to make sure that people are paying. But for the estimate, I would just say authorization of quote. And then when it comes to the actual invoice, then that's when you can put your bank account details. So from the estimate that you have here, you can save and close it, and it will number it so you know how many estimates you've done. And then you can do a create invoice. Now, this will not allow me to do it because there's no information there. But if there was information, you would be able to create an invoice just from this estimate. It also will ask you if you want to create part of the invoice. So suppose you did you listed 3 jobs on there. So painting, woodwork, and sanding. And you only did the painting and the sanding. It allows you to do only part of the invoice, so you can bill partial of it and do the rest at a later date. Or if you don't do it at all, then you can just cancel the balance of it. So that is going to be for your customers. And one of the great things of QuickBooks, you can also email the quotes and invoices directly from QuickBooks. So you don't have to worry about how you're going to get it to your customers. It can be sent directly. Another important feature is going to be your vendor center. And so that is going to keep track of all the bills that you owe to your customer. So say, for instance, you're a business, you do a service business, and you have to create invoices, and you're printing those invoices on paper. So you may need stationery. You order some paper from A.F. Smith, and you might not have paid it yet. You can create or enter a bill that you haven't paid yet, enter in all that information. So say it's a Belco bill, you put in your Belco, the invoice number, the amount, what it's for. So your account, you would either have your chart of accounts that you can get the information from, or you can always add. So if I started typing in utility and it wasn't already there, then it would just ask me to be able to add that account. So it would say add. So you don't have to necessarily have all the information in QuickBooks at one time, but as you're doing it, it will recognize this vendor isn't already in, would you like to add it? Or this account isn't already in, would you like to add it? And the great thing about having a record of your bills is so that you can run a report at the end, so you can see at the end of the month, who do I have to pay? And then you can either make those payments or whatever your decisions are as far as your payables. So that's being able to keep a track of all your accounts receivable, all your money coming in, all your payables, money that is going out. And so that's your vendor center. And then you can also have your pay bill. So once you set up the bill, once you actually pay it, then you can make that payment. It also has an employee center. Employee center is a little tricky for Bermuda just because with QuickBooks, because it is a US-based software, it doesn't allow you to do a lot of the functions through the desktop. There are add-ons that you can purchase separately if you need to, but I would say depending on how many employees that you have, you may not even need it. So if it's just starting out and it's just you, you can set up yourself as an employee with all your employee information, but it's not necessarily anything that you may use right away. If you have more than 5 or 10 employees, then it may be something that you may look to as an add-on, but it doesn't function the way how we would want it because we are in Bermuda versus the US.
Kalina, can I ask, what do you mean by it doesn't function? And wouldn't you want to put in your employees so you can look at salaries?
You can, but it doesn't do like pay slips and things like that. Like the regular one, like you can set up an employee, you can set up the start date and the end date. You can put in, different information as far as what their salary is going to be, what their deductions are going to be, but it doesn't create the pay slip like how we would do it, like how you would want it to function. So it does do a bit of what you need, but it doesn't function as fully. Whereas if you was in the States, you would be able to do everything through the employees.
Employees through QuickBooks.
Yeah, yeah, you'll be able to create this. Those that have purchased QuickBooks in the past, then the payroll portion of it was included in it, would be grandfathered. So there are some people that are able to do payroll slips and things like that, but that's because they purchased it a long time ago before they actually separated it out.
Okay, all right.
And then you have banking. So banking is going to be where you would do your transfer of funds. So if you had a bank account that had a checking and a savings, and you received money in your checking account, and you had extra that you wanted to transfer your savings just to build up that savings, you can do an easy transfer from one account to the other. Banking is also where you're going to do your reconciliation. So it's very important that when you start your business, that you're going to have a bank account, a business bank account. And so it's important to make sure you separate your personal expenses from your business expenses. Even though you may use some of the business expenses for personal, we definitely encourage people to pay yourself or do a transfer to yourself or whatever you need that money for, and then use it how you like. But then at least you only have one transaction from the business versus having multiple transactions, which are not really business related. And so once you have your bank account, you're going to enter in all that information. You can either enter in the information as you're receiving it. So say you have a sales business and every day you're doing sales and you're running a reconciliation at the end of the month. You have a payroll a system for recording your transactions, a pay system. And so you can record those receipts on a daily basis if you want. If you're making a payment to your Belco, your Telco, AF Smith, whoever, you can put those invoices in once you're actually doing the transaction. Or you can wait until the bank statement comes. I would say if you are recording this information yourself, to at least do it on a monthly basis. Once you get past a monthly basis, it just gets difficult to catch up. And people fall behind. And when you think about it, it's 3 months later and people are like, oh, I have to input all this information. And sometimes it's hard to even remember what you did, what the transactions was for. So it's important to keep receipts. If you did a withdrawal and it was to pay somebody, if you was paying somebody cash and you was paying them $100, right on there, salary for this person, whatever period it's for, just so that you have that backup information so that when you are ready to put it in a software package in general, you know what the transactions are for. But I would recommend at least on a monthly basis, printing off your bank statement, putting that information in, and then doing a bank rack. And so your bank rack is going to make sure that everything you have in your system agrees to your bank statement. And so then you can run, be able to run these reports that you need. So that's going to be your banking, and then reports. So obviously we know once all that information is put in, the most important part of having a software is to be able to run these reports, to be able to make better business decisions financially. So with reports, there are a lot of reports that you have. You can schedule reports. You can see the company snapshot. You can do graphs. These software are very intricate. You can do graphs depending on what you need it for. Sometimes if you're doing a business plan and you want to make it look fancy, you can put that information in a graph format. But I would say there are going to be at least 4 important, I'll say 3 to 5 important reports that you're going to run on not necessarily on a monthly basis, definitely on a yearly basis. And especially if you're doing a year over year, you want to see how your business did this year versus last year. Depending on what type of business it is, sometimes people have investors and the investors want to know how the business is doing. And so depending on how often you have to report that information, you may run them monthly, quarterly, every 6 months, or definitely on a yearly basis. So one of the most important reports is going to be your profit and loss statement. And you have it in standard or you have it in detail. But basically what that report is going to show you all your income. So if you have different streams, say for instance, you had a retail and you wanted to do it separately. So you might have wanted to do clothing, shoes, jewelry, however you want to lay it out. You can do your input. So you inputting your income by those different categories. And so when you're running your profit and loss statement, you can be able to tell how my jeans done versus how the accessories did, how the accessories done versus the clothing. And that's going to be important because depending on what your cash flow forecast is, you can say, oh, well, I budgeted or I expected to do this, and this is what I actually did. So maybe one of my items are not doing as good as I need to. Maybe I need to do more advertising, or maybe there is one item that's doing really well, and so you may cut back on that because you don't necessarily need it. And so looking at the P&L is going to be very important as far as, tracking your income, all your money coming in, and then also being able to track all your expenses, so all the money going out, and be able to see. And then at the end of that report, it's going to show you all your money coming in, all your expenses going out, and then how much you made. So obviously we're in business to be able to make a profit. So you want to be able to see at the end of the month or the year that my profits, my income was way more than my expenses. And if that's not happening, then what do I need to do? Do I need to cut my expenses down? Do I need to, and some people may be renting. I know rent is a very costly expense. And so you may say, okay, maybe I need to do online sales versus, do online versus having an actual building. So that's going to cut my cost down by a bit. So that's why these reports are very important, because it's going to be able to say, okay, well, can I really afford to be, or if I'm starting at home, can I really afford to go into rent and go into a space versus, I can do online and sell out of my house for a little while, and then maybe I can grow it at some point and then go into a business space. So that report's going to be very important.
Hey, Kalina, can I jump in? We're good. We've got a few more. Well, we've got 7 more presentations. I'm going to have to stop. Guys, Kalina is absolutely awesome at QuickBooks. You can see that she can probably go on for another 8 weeks. Trust me, because she's going to start a course tonight. In fact, and that's a QuickBooks course. I just wanted to add and anybody, if you want to take the QuickBooks course tonight, you can sign up. I think it's still open. Take a look at that. 2 things, Kalina. One, you can get QuickBooks online for as little as $8 a month. So you're not going to break the bank there. But as Kalina was alluding to, it is a powerful beast. Now, don't get too overwhelmed by what you see, because a lot of you out there are, you know your business, you know your service. When it comes to accounting, it gets a little challenging. A quick hack, and this is what I've done. I'm not an accountant, but I paired up with an accountant like a Kalina or somebody else, and they got me going. I spent maybe 2 sessions with them. They knew my business. They helped me set it up, and they showed me all the maybe 4 different transactions I had to do, and that's it. Everything else was, I didn't need everything else. And so I would suggest you do a quick hack like that. Now, who's next? I'm going to shut up. Thank you, Kalina, so much. Go ahead.
Okay, let me just one more minute. I also have done the same thing. So just saying what you said, I've sat with someone for about 4 weeks and just went through the ins and out until they were prepared and ready to do it themselves. And then they do it themselves. And then at the end of the month, the person can check in with their accountant or bookkeeper or whatever, just to say, this is what I've done for the month. Can you just check over it? So it's not hard. It's very user friendly. Like you said, they do have the online version of QuickBooks. The only thing with that, it is a monthly fee versus a one-time fee. But the good thing about it is you can use it wherever you are. And there are also other software packages. So we have the Wave app, which is free, and you also have Euro, which is at a cost. So I would just say research for what you need, what your financial needs are, and pick the one that best suits you.
I put the website for Wave apps, the Wave app, which is a free accounting software, in the chat. Next up, we have Laura Ann Bao from 241 Marketing Champions. So Laura's going to talk about Canva.
Yes, thank you so much.
After Canva, you can go right into scheduling, which is Calendly.
Wonderful, I will do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, everyone, to be here. My name is Laura Ann Bell. I am the co-founder of 241. We are a marketing and training agency, and we help small businesses and entrepreneurs, like pretty much everyone here, to level up their marketing one step at a time. So I'm going to share a little bit of Canva love first today, because I'm a graphic designer. It is my trade, has been for a few too many years. And I've only recently decided that Canva is cool and Canva is amazing. And now I'm helping people learn how to use it. And I'm kind of a little bit in love with it myself. So can you just change me as the presenter so I can share my screen, please? Okay, one sec. Okay, there we go. Okay, one sec. Let me just get it here. All right. All right, can you see the Canva love? Anybody just tell me? Because I can't see anybody anymore. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so just want to share a little bit of Canva love today, and I'll give you a few tips and tricks because I like to give a lot of value when I do any sort of training on how you can level up your Canva. Canva is just a design program, and you can literally design anything. So first question, what can you create in Canva? This is not even an exhaustive list. You can create so much more than this, but this should be the basics of just about what any business person would ever need to create for their business, and you can do it in Canva. There are literally thousands of templates for each and every one of these that you can start with, and there's just no limits. So I just wanted to let you know that there's everything is possible there. Definitely check it out. But there's a few things you should do to get yourself started. First thing I highly recommend to level it up is to start with the Learn section. So one of actually my favorite parts of Canva is that they have some really good training right in the program. So this is in the free version as well as the paid version, and it's right at the top. You see the Learn, it's where the nice, orange arrow is for you. And there's loads of easy to follow, very short tutorials on branding, graphic design basics, mastering social media, and more. So start there. Learn as much as you can. Do design school, whether you know anything about design or you're a complete novice. It's just a great place to start, give you all the tips and tricks to get going. This is a little insider trick. As a designer, I love grids, I love guides, and I like things to be lined up nice and clean and even no matter what I'm doing, whether it be Instagram carousel where I'm teaching somebody how to do something, or a presentation like this one. And by the way, whole presentation was done on Canva. Under File, right at the top of your, when you start to create anything, whatever, template you're using or wherever you start with a blank design, there's a file. Under File, you can turn on your rulers and you can turn on Show Guides. When you do this, you can pull guides either left or right, up or down, and block out how you want your design to look. And they don't show up on your final version, so don't worry about that. But they definitely help you to outline everything you want and keep your designs nice and clean. Another thing that I think is a great tip is using filters, because the one thing you're going to find with Canva is it's overwhelming, right? There's thousands of, no, sorry, let me take that back. There are millions of images on Canva. There are millions of elements. There's so much to choose from. It's just massively overwhelming, and searching can take an exhausting amount of time. So to save yourself time, use the filters. So you just click right there, those three little funny looking lines with the circles in them. They're going to show these filters, and there are more if you keep scrolling. So if you have a brand color like we do, we use blue a lot. I would click on the blue color. I would click on the orientation I want. If I'm doing an Instagram, for example, I might want to square orientations. You keep scrolling. You can choose static or animated. You can choose free or pro, and you can narrow down your search. It just saves tons and tons of time. And I highly recommend, if you're only using the free version of Canva, to click just free, because if you start seeing all the things that's available in pro, you're going to get frustrated real quick. And then the last tip I'm going to share is the tip I share with everybody, no matter how you work with me. You've heard me say this before, keep it consistent. It's super important no matter what you do. And this also is a good time-saving tip. Set yourself up with your own brand, colors, fonts, design, style of imagery, templates, and use them consistently. We get bored of our own design and our own marketing, but our clients, our customers don't. They don't see it as often as we do, but what you do when you keep it consistent is that they recognize you over and over, and that's what you want. You want that brand recognition every time. Okay, so I've talked about free and pro, and the pro is the paid version. I just want to give you a little insight. If you're interested in going with Canva Pro, if you're doing more than a couple of social media posts a month or a week, then I would recommend going with Pro for these reasons. And again, it's more time saving with your custom brand kit. So this is kind of one of my favorite things about Canva Pro. And as a designer myself, I've set up multiple brand kits for different clients that I work with. But here's just an example of the 2-for-1. We add in our logos, we add in our color palettes, and we've even added in custom fonts, which is something you can only do in Pro. Although Canva has loads of fonts, but if you have your own custom fonts that you want to use, you can upload them directly with the Pro account. It also has this amazing thing called background remover, which is exactly what you think it is. Take a picture of a person in a background and you want to get rid of the background, you click a button and it automatically removes it. It's not perfect, but it is pretty fantastic. They even give you options to clean it up. It is a life-changing thing. It's years of Photoshop training gone, and now I can just do it in Canva. It's crazy, but I absolutely love it. And of course, with Pro, you unlock millions more images, including great Bermuda ones. I want people to know that there's great Bermuda stock images available, but they're all Pro. So if you need to use a Bermuda background for anything, definitely upgrading to Pro is the way to go. Of course, it opens up access to more templates. There's 20,000. I know it sounds like way too many. It is, but again, I'll flip back to my tip on consistency. Pick one, run with it, only use that. Don't try to get a new template every time you want to create something new. Just don't do it. Just pick one you love, take the time, find the one you love, and stick with it. I mentioned the fonts, and then Magic Resize. This is another amazing, amazing tool. Perhaps my favorite thing in Canva Pro is this resize button. So say you've created a great design for an Instagram post and it's a square, right? Well, squares won't work well in Facebook. So you want to resize it for, say, a Facebook cover photo, cover photo, for example. So with just a click of a button, you can magically resize your whole design with all the elements, photos, logos, fonts, everything you've used to fit into that new format, and it just does it for you. Now, you might need to adjust a little bit to make it, look perfect, but it does a really good job. Even going from like horizontal to vertical, it's pretty impressive, but you certainly need to rejig a little bit, but it's massively time saving. And this is a tool I don't personally use. We use Plannable for all of our social media scheduling, but you can schedule directly from Canva into your social media channels. You just need to set it up, and it's really quite simple to do. And definitely, if you try that out and use it, let me know what you think of it, because I'd be interested in hearing some feedback. So in all transparency, we are a Canva affiliate. So if you want to check out Canva Pro, there's a 30-day free trial here. Just take out your smartphone and you can click the QR code to check it out. If you sign up, we get a little bit of a gift back from Canva, and appreciate it, but certainly no big deal. And so it is about $120 for the year. They have a monthly billing as well. But if that works for you, then yeah, check it out. And please hit us up anytime with questions. Our website is 2for1training.com or info@2for1branding.com, and we're happy to answer any questions. So I don't know if I should pause here for a quick second if there were any questions in the chat. No, the chat's quiet. Okay, that's cool. Or if not, I'll just keep going because I know we want to keep time moving, and I'll jump over to Calendly. Yeah? Okay, good stuff. All right. All right, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is my other favorite tool, is a calendar scheduling app called Calendly. Some of you may have heard of it, may have used it. If you've ever worked with us, then you will certainly have used it on the client side of things. And I'll just go through quickly. It's really simple to use. It is free to start. Of course, they have paid plans when you want more features and stuff. But basically, all you do, you plug your availability into a calendar. So you have a calendar view, which can be a list view, or it could be an actual calendar, so you can see what days. And you could decide what days, what times you're available to meet with people, and you plug that all in there. Then you add in your Zoom account, Microsoft Teams, even GoToWebinar is in there. And then, that is now connected to your own Zoom. So when you send the link, they get your calendar all set up, and they get your Zoom account all set up, and it actually creates the Zoom link for you. You don't have to do anything after that. It's brilliant. Then after that, you set up an event type, and usually it's either a one-on-one meeting or you can do group meetings, and you can set up one in the free plan and how long you want it to be. You can decide, is it an hour, is it 30 minutes, is it 2 hours, whatever you need. And there's so many different functions, and you can add to it exactly how you want to set it up. And then all you have to do is send the link, your booking link, off to your client. So what does this do? Back in the day, a few months ago, people would email us and say, hey, we'd love to meet with you. We'd email them back, yeah, it sounds great. When are you available? They'd come back to us, okay, how's Tuesday at 4? We'd go back, oh, we can't do that. How's Wednesday at 10, no, and it goes back and forth, and it it gets really annoying. And then after you've agreed on the day and time, then you've got to send the Zoom link and follow up and send them reminders, etc., etc. Calendly gets rid of all that. You just send them when you're available, they click on when they're available, bang, everything else just happens automatically after that point. If you can see on the screen here, this is what it looks like from their point of view. So when the client gets the link, they get this. And all they have to do is click on the date and time, choose the one that works best for them, sign up, sign in, and then they get a confirmation email with how you're going to meet. You can even do this for in-person meetings, so you can add directions, a map, those sort of things, or it just connects to your Zoom, whatever way that you're going to be meeting. And then you both get reminders, which is kind of the best part. And I'll tell you, since we've been using this system, we've only had one person ever miss a meeting. And it's never happened since. And people are on time, and it's just really, really been very successful for us, which is why I recommend it. Okay, a couple of quick pro tips. Set yourself office hours. You don't need to be available 9 to 5 every single day. I would suggest just pick a time of the day where you're going to be sitting at your desk, and it's a good time for you to meet with clients. So say it's 2 to 4 every afternoon, or 10 to 12, whatever works best for you. Don't open it up, especially not initially, to tons of availability. It's also a little bit of a psychological thing to a client. If they see that you're got hundreds of meeting spots available, they're going to think you're not busy, right? So a little bit of a psychological trick just to give it just so much availability. Put buffers between meetings. It's another good one. What you don't want to do, especially if you sent out a lot of these links, or if you have it as a button on your website, like click here for a free consultation or something, you don't want to have back-to-back meetings booked. Make sure give yourself 15 minutes between each one. You can also set scheduling conditions. So for example, my business partner lives in Australia, so we're only available, certain times of the day where we're both actually awake and working. So we have it set that you can't book within 12 hours. That's just so no one books a meeting with us and she's, sleeping and doesn't know about it and wakes up in the morning and she's missed a meeting, sort of thing. So we just do that to protect ourselves. And we also recommend ask your invitees a question. So we always say, hey, please share anything that would help us prepare for this meeting, just so that we know what we're walking into when we meet with our clients. That's a few pro tips. I hope that help. And there's my email, there's our website. If you want to check out our Calendly thing and play around on it, you can, again, use your phone. I'm going to send this to you guys afterwards as well, the actual presentation, so you can look at it again and view it again. And if you want to chat with my partner, Vicki Abraham, and this is a 15-minute free consultation. You're welcome to book one in, come chat. We'll help answer any questions on Calendly, Canva, or anything else marketing related. We are here and love to serve. And we thank BEDC so much for this opportunity and you all for coming out today. And thanks, that's it from me.
Awesome, thank you, Laura and Bao. It's absolutely amazing so far, thank you. Real quick, my mother, which is terrible at graphic design, she uses Canva and she uses it from her iPad, believe it or not, and she does some really good stuff. And I said, Mom, did you do that? And she said, yeah, and I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so I say all of that to say, all of these apps, Canva, Calendly, Wave app, as well as QuickBooks, you can use from your phone or tablet. Why is that amazing? Well, obviously it's amazing because you can be working wherever you are. You can be on the toilet. You can be anywhere, at a restaurant. I don't know, in a meeting, in a business meeting, for instance, and you need to send an invoice for some reason. I don't know. But the point is, you can be anywhere to get the work done and save time. Okay, so who is next? We've got Haley. Am I going to get you? Nikki.
Correct.
Nikki. Yes. Wow, that's amazing. So Haley's going to talk about social media. She's a little social media guru. So knock it out.
Okay, hey everyone. As I said, my name is Haley and I am the founder of Nikki Marketing. Fun fact, we're officially 1 year old this week, so yay. I don't know how I'm going to celebrate yet, but I'm going to figure that out. Hopefully some champagne. At Nikki Marketing, I offer social media management as well as social media consultations and marketing strategies for business owners. Today, I'm going to be kind of discussing how to achieve your highest potential on social media to achieve that high reach. Everyone wants followers. We all want to grow. As much as we say we don't care about vanity metrics, we low-key definitely want to get those likes and comments going. So the first things first is that we need to understand that social media is a very social platform, which means that you can't just post and ghost. A lot of the time, even when we're busy, we think that we can just post a picture on social media and leave it be, and we're going to instantly get likes and comments. But when you do that, you're actually limiting the amount of reach that you're actually going to get. Because Instagram, the way that the algorithm works, they favor users who are active. So instead, you need to think of social media as a two-way form of communication and engagement. It requires action and a real back and forth interest between you and your followers. And you have to give in order to receive. You can't expect to get a heap load of comments if you're not actively engaging on your followers' content as well. So my first tip is to create engaging content, and I live by an 80-20 rule. So I do 20% of promotions, product-based sales, and the other 80% is still content that's valuable, but it's a bit more engaging for the audience. It's more entertaining. Sometimes it may just be like a funny meme, or it can be something that starts a conversation or invites your audience to have an opinion on something to get a discussion flowing underneath your content. So for example, if you have an Instagram post and you have a caption, instead of just having a straightforward caption, try to use a call to action in your caption. So for example, if you ask them a question, and when they answer that question in the comment section, instead of just saying, "Oh, thank you for your opinion," follow up with that, actually keep that conversation going and ask another question, and you're going to generate more comments underneath your post. And the reason why comments are important is because Instagram's going to see this as a favorable post that your audience are actually loving and engaging with. So that's going to kind of boost your post up a little bit and actually show it to more people. The more engagement that you get on your post, the more that Instagram's going to say, okay, let me show this to more than just 10% of your followers. This has more potential. It's a valuable post, and this can actually, these are the kind of methods that get you onto the explore page. And a lot of the time, like as a social media user, if I see a brand, and I know a lot of other people as well, if you see a brand on social media that you love, but they only post promotional content, that can kind of be a turnoff. You don't want to come across as a brand who is just there to sell, sell, sell. Sometimes you have to also be about the community and engaging with your audience. So for example, I have two separate clients who are completely different scales. One has 300 followers and the other has about 3,500 followers. And they actually get the same amount of likes and the same amount of engagement. And you would think that, oh, if I have more followers, I would get more likes and engagement, but that's not the case if you don't have a community based audience. So with the company that has 300 followers, they're very highly engaged. Their community is very close-knit, and they engage and interact with their audience a lot. And they post more entertaining and inspirational content that is shareable. Creating content is also really important. Whereas my other client that just has 3,500, every post was promotion, 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 promotion. And we started to realize whenever we posted something that was a meme or something entertaining or something that the audience had more of an interest in, their likes would skyrocket, So yeah, even with myself, when I first started my page, I started at 0, obviously, and I was able to grow my account by 100 followers a week just because I was focusing more on engagement rather than just sales. So yeah, my engagement checklist for myself as well as my clients, I have a little checklist, and I make sure that I engage 15 minutes before I post and 15 minutes after. You want to engage when you're actually posting because it's going to optimize the time that you're boosting your post. So I engage with Instagram stories. I reply to Instagram sticker polls. I also use them myself if I'm posting. That's another thing when you're posting on an Instagram story. If you want to boost your reach and visibility, use one of the Instagram stickers. They have polls and question stickers, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as, happy hump day, how is your week going so far, good or bad? And instantly, by using one of Instagram's interactive stickers, it's going to bump up your post a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of everything, a brief overview of how engagement works. And also, when you're leaving a comment, instead of just putting a little heart or something, try to leave a comment that has some value to it. So you're actually interacting and having a conversation with value with the customers that you're engaging with.
Haley, wow, okay. That was, again, outstanding. Few things here. You were saying words like community-based audience, caption, call to action, 20/80 rule, engagement, post.
Yeah.
This is, you know, for somebody like yourself who's in this, it's a lot coming at me. For instance, particularly if you know, I am not really into Instagram, but I know as a business I gotta get on there, right? So I say all of that to say, you know, I said at the beginning the hack of you utilizing an expert. Like I was talking about an accountant to get you going with your nice and easy accountant software once you get that little training, and then you can run with it. I'm suggesting that with somebody like yourself, right? Because 100%. You do this on a regular basis. You sleep this stuff, right? You wake up and
I do.
Bam, let's do it. Similarly with Laura Ann Bell, right? So again, Canva these apps are easy, right? But you might just need a little kickstart. And then, you know, Haley, you can show them, okay, this is what I'm talking about. When I talk about, you know, the 20/80 rule, this is what I'm talking about, call to action, or the explore page. I didn't even know there was an explore page. And I use Instagram. So yeah, anyway, so check out Haley, check out Laura, take up Kalina's course tonight. And who is next? Project management and email campaigns, and you can go back to back. This is the wonderful, amazing Nikki Fagan of Brand Lion Roar. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Nikki. Rock and roll.
Absolutely wonderful and amazing. Thank you. Okay, so what do I want to talk about today? First, I am Nikki Fagan, yes, of the Brand Lion, and I am a brand strategist, right? So what really what gets my blood boiling in a good way is helping women to develop their personal brand and their business brand so that they can build their businesses so that they're aligned to how they want to show up in the world, and help them to actually make a profit in their business. Because although the female segment of entrepreneurship is the fastest growing, we are also the least money making. So that is what I do for you. Kalina and Dante both mentioned about knowing yourself when adding anything to your business. And I just want to second that emotion, because it is really, really easy to get caught up in shiny object syndrome when you are when you are a small business entrepreneur and you really just don't know what you're doing, basically. And so it's people are selling things all over the place. It's very easy to get distracted. And so, you know, you want to try all the things, but I welcome you to recognize what that actually is. So if you ever find yourself really trying all the things, it's normally an indicator of something else. Typically, it's an indicator that you're off track and you need to refocus, right? And so the things that you're trying to add to your plate are actually just distractions. So with that said, what we're talking about here when we talk about apps is often referred to in the online world as a tech stack, right? And so eventually, as you build out your business, you're going to have a tech stack. My current tech stack is Gmail as my email provider and my calendar. I use Calendly for my meeting manager, and that was what Laura had touched on with Calendly. It does the same thing. And I use Squarespace as my website provider and email campaign manager. And then I use Trello as my client and my me manager tool. And then for Rude and Fluffy, which is my other business, my retail business, I use the Sargasso app, and that is my key tech tool. So that is my tech stack. And all of the things have to work together. Like typically, I can, one of them is nothing without the other. And that's really what you want to build, a stack of apps that help your business overall, and not just disparate apps that work for one thing and they're not all connected, because you want everybody to talk to each other. And I say everybody, I mean your apps. So when I talk about Trello, we can start. Are we going to start with Trello? Okay, so when I talk about Trello, I don't know if any of you have ever used Trello, but basically I have a bunch of clients and I have to manage their needs. And so I need an online space that I can put any documents that we need to share together, any links that I need them that are relevant to the project that I'm completing for them. I need a space to house all of that is no longer my filing cabinet in my office. And so that's what Trello does for me. Trello allows me to create a space where the client and I can interact together. I have even run courses out of Trello. That's how much I love Trello. So Trello is a very visual app, and you can create folders on there that I can store all of my course material in there, and the clients can access it as they need to. One of my other power tools that I have in Trello is actually my CEO dashboard. And so I operate my business from a CEO dashboard. And I'm actually going to share that with you so you can see. I created a sample one. And I'm going to, can I share my screen?
Should be able to now, Nikki.
Okay. No, don't make me go through a whole permissions-based thing. How? How? Way? How? How can I share?
Let me see. Did I? Yeah, you should be able to share now. There's like a under the camera. There's like a computer monitor. Wait.
Forget it. It was a nice to have. It's not a need to have. But basically with Trello, what I do for my CEO dashboard is I keep all of my objectives in Trello. So for example, I set my objectives for the quarter, and anything that's relevant in regards to networking and building visibility, creating sales funnels, I set all of that up in Trello. And goals for the company planning, yearly planning, weekly planning, any type of new programs that I'm starting. I have a CEO hub in Trello that allows me to do that. I also do any big goal setting. Trello allows you to build boards around that as well. If you are not a visual, there are other tools like Trello that can work similarly. Asana is one of them, but I'm totally a picture person, so Asana does not do anything for me. It does not get me off at all. I also keep on Trello any type of, Laura had mentioned in Canva, there were where you can keep your brand colors, your brand fonts, and all of that. You can keep your brand book basically in Canva. You can also do a similar thing in Trello. You can put all of your, I put my promotional photos in there. And you can just share the folder to, if I was reaching out to media of any sort and they wanted access to my bio, to my my brand photography, anything like that, you can share it. Also, if you have employees, they all can be on the board as well. What else do I use Trello for? Passcodes. I keep my passcodes in there as well for myself, and then it is easy access. So I am a doodler. I will doodle on everything, which is why Trello is my new doodle board, because I typically have like 8 different notebooks going at any one time. So that's what Trello is good for me. I can literally, if you see a website somewhere, you can literally copy and paste into your doodles folder on Trello if you want. So it is amazing to keep you organized and to keep you, if you forget your book home, you can easily access Trello from your the app that they have for your phone. So that is Trello in a nutshell. Let me move into Squarespace. Squarespace is currently where I have my website, which is down right now as I upgrade it. Squarespace is where I keep my website. The reason why I love Squarespace, now Squarespace's tech support is not amazing. A lot of the apps, and as you're choosing apps, one of the things that I would definitely say is see how important, what does customer service support look like to you? Because Squarespace's customer support is not amazing. A lot of these companies now do not have a physical person that you can call and talk to. That's important to me. That might not be important to you, but understand before you sign up for any tech what the customer support looks like. But Squarespace, for now, the reason why I love it is because it has amazingly beautiful templates for websites, but it has beautiful templates as well for your email. So as you send out newsletters, it's super, super easy to do. The templates are right there, and you can easily brand them your colors. You can store your brand colors in there as well. You can add pretty big, pretty significant amounts of email addresses in there as well, which is great. Some other providers like ActiveCampaign do something similar. I probably am going to move over to ActiveCampaign as I upgrade my site, to be honest. But Squarespace is a great starter site because it has a site and a robust email campaign platform all in one. What else can you do? You can track who's read it. You can track which parts of the email that they've read. You can track if it's been opened. It's great for analytics for newbie business owners. So I like Squarespace as a kind of comprehensive all-in-one solution. I also have tried Strikingly. Strikingly, again, does not have great customer support. This is, again, is a site that, you can go back and forth in live chat, but it's not amazing when you're trying to actually speak to someone to sort out a solution. So if I have to give you a pro tip, that's definitely a pro tip. Any app that you're intending to add to your arsenal or your tech stack, make sure that the customer support looks like how you need it to look. Because when you're in the middle of a crisis or an emergency, the last thing you want to find out is, oh crap, these people don't actually have someone that I can reach on the other end, and I have to go through live support or email support in order to make this happen. A lot of them don't even have email support. So really have a look at that before you commit to any type of monthly fee. I think that might be it. I just wanted to add a tip to what Laura had said about the email scheduling client, Calendly. With Calendly, and I use Calendar, and there's Acuity, there's so many of them, but with any of the ones that you use, the way that I siphon out clients is I give at least 4 or 5 questions as well. And so what I do before anyone gets on my calendar, they have to understand that, they need to be able to tell me what their problem is. They need to tell me if they're ready to work with me today, and they need to tell me if they're ready to invest a minimum of $997. And if you are not meeting that criteria, then you can't get on my calendar. So I think that's really, really important because it gets tire kickers out the way and time wasters out the way. It lets them know straight up, listen, here's what the investment is going to be, And, really when you start to get a lot of traffic and a lot of people are reaching out to you, it's going to be super important to be able to start to funnel people out in levels of importance. And that's not being kind of select, it's not being bougie or anything like that. It's being very selective, which is important as a smart entrepreneur, because at some point you're going to have to narrow down and figure out who you want to serve. If you want to serve people who are under $9.97, great. Then you make your questions on Calendly or Acuity or Calendar. You make your questions, to fit that. Otherwise, that's a great way to be able to siphon people off and really work with the people that are ready to invest in your services. So with that, I think those are my tips.
Outstanding, very powerful. And this is what I love about this is we're not just telling you guys about apps that are efficient, maybe save you money and whatnot. You're learning some powerful entrepreneurial tips, which is going to help you. And Nikki just finished her presentation with a powerful tip. I like it. I like it. All right, so there are two things I got, and I'm hitting my mind right now that I'm going to say. There are a ton of apps that have the same sort of functionality. I think you're hearing this, between Laura and Nikki, they're talking about, I use this, but I like it for that. That's a great thing, because you're going to find an app which is sort of bespoke for yourself, right? And how you operate. For Nikki, it was customer service. For you, it could be something else. So take your time and get it right before you get into like a 1-year subscription. You can do trials like Laura offered. There's trials all over the place. Every app has a trial. Just play around with it. If you don't like it, you don't buy it. And the other thing is that, and this might be elementary, but it's okay. I mean, some people don't know. I didn't know this some time ago, but some time ago. But all of these apps are not device specific. You don't have to have your phone and I can't find my phone. You just jump on a desktop, jump on your friend's computer, and you can typically sign on these apps and get to your account. So they're all web-based, which is outstanding. So wherever you are, again, you can be in Florida and you're on vacation, but you got to quickly do something, but you didn't bring your laptop. Bam, you can do it. What do we have next? Okay, actually, I'm going to do a real quick overview of, let me see if I can share my screen, of a cloud-based file hosting service. Cloud-based file hosting service. I can't do two things at one time, guys, so I'm going to have to shut up real quick and get this done. All right. So Dropbox, OneDrive. Some of you may have been thinking cloud-based file hosting service. So some of you may use Google Drive. And I thought it would be imperative of me to talk about this. I use this all the time, not only for work here, but I use it as an entrepreneur myself. So what are some of the top features? I'm going to go through this. I have both of these here, Dropbox, OneDrive. There are others, of course, doing the same thing. Store and sync. So basically, let me jump back. Basically, what these hosting services are cloud-based, or if I'm saying cloud and you don't, well, most of us know what a cloud-based is. And if you don't, it's your files that can be retrieved from any device. You don't have to necessarily be on your local device, your local PC. So you can store and sync as much files as you want and be able to access them from wherever. And that is powerful. I tell you why, because I mean, I can't, on a daily basis, I want to say, I have to find a document to send to somebody else. And guess what? I don't have my laptop, but I have this. So this is my laptop and everything. Got everything I need. All of my files from work, from my business, all in here. I can retrieve it and be able to send it in a timely fashion, right? Right there and then. You can obviously share your information quickly. It's all secure. And this is the part that I really like, the collaboration. You know, I can be working on an Excel spreadsheet while my partner is also working on the same Excel spreadsheet. And so you can collaborate on files. We can have 3 or 4 people, maybe even on a Zoom call on one document. The power of that is tremendous. You know, without this ability, what happens is you've got like 3 of the same files out. One person's making a change, the other one's making a different change, and now you've got to amalgamate all 4 of these documents together. You know, okay, what did you change in that one, and what did you change in this one, and you got to figure it all out. With this collaboration sort of sync teams thing, you can all be working on the same file, and when everybody's done, that is the version, the final version. So it's absolutely phenomenal. If you don't have a cloud-based file hosting service, look into it. It's again one of those must-haves in your tech deck. I didn't know about the tech deck, Nikki. Got a new term to use.
Stack.
Tech stack. Oh, I'm saying deck. I was large, strong, and wrong. Okay, man. All righty, so good. Tech stack. All right, who is next? Got my good friend, colleague, Dennis Carter. Dennis Carter is up.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, Dennis Carter here. I work with Dante at the BDC, an entrepreneur myself, about to launch my newest business. And I'm going to give you a little hack on sort of how that all came to towards the end. But I'm going to be talking about LinkedIn. And what is LinkedIn? You know, it really is the largest, I guess you would call it the largest business professional networking site out there. I mean, there's over 600 million users. And just by a show of hands, how many of the presenters here are on LinkedIn? So good to see. So of course, make sure for everybody that is listening, if you do download LinkedIn today, definitely send us a request as well. Stay in contact. But that's exactly what it's for. It's for connecting with other professionals, because mostly, probably everybody is more focused on business. There's different variations of it. You do have the free version, and you also have the premium version. The free version is great for you to sort of maintain those connections, constantly, looking at more of a business networking stuff. So links that associate with sort of your industry. Some things that you won't see on LinkedIn are you probably, what you don't really want to be posting is you on a night out. That's not really the place for it. It's more but for what you're doing, whether you're creating your personal brand around your business, or if you have your business on LinkedIn and your target is more CEOs, professionals, business solutions, it's a great place to market outside of outside of Instagram, Facebook, and all the regular ones. There's different features. So with the free, a lot of times you won't be able to connect with people outside of your network straight away. So you can't just send an email to the CEO of a company, or maybe a company that has a product that you haven't been able to get through, and you want to just go direct to the source. You can't do that on the free, but you can do it on the premium. And I'll let you guys know a little hack, one that I've recently just done successfully. But it's really, for me, so I'm about to launch a product-based business. And for me, I really wanted to reach out to the companies directly of the products that I want to, have in stock. And it was difficult going through the websites to try and go through to a sales agent. And some of the businesses are smaller, so they don't really have the best, larger, and the customer service isn't really there. So what's the best next thing? Go direct to the source, to the, whether it be CEOs, CFOs, marketing officers. And one of the things that I've just recently done was I created an Excel list with all the companies that I was looking to target. And then I went through next to that and I put down the names of the top 3 professionals within that business. And then I got the LinkedIn Premium trial. And a lot of small businesses that I know are listening in, that cost, sometimes it is expensive. LinkedIn for the year, it really ranges between about $29 up to $80. But one of the things I found was making a list of all the people that I wanted to target, all the companies and the people within those companies, and then getting the free trial for LinkedIn Premium. And there's a feature on there called InMail, and with the premium version, you do get the InMail. So going through and finding all those names and whatever was around, having sort of a templated message that I just sent out to every single person. And I ended up getting out of around 100 that I sent, I ended up getting over 20 messages back, and scheduled meetings, which most of them I'll have the products launching very soon. So that's sort of a little hack if you're bootstrapping but you need to get through to the company. But LinkedIn, it's really a good source, just even the free version, staying in contact with people that are in your industry, around your space, and new connections. And other than that, I would say definitely get on it. Give us all, you can connect with all of us. I believe, anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody's names that you see on here are most likely the same as what they are on LinkedIn. So definitely, yeah, shoot us a connection and keep in contact.
Thanks, Dennis. It is a great tool, guys. I mean, I've made quite a few connections, business connections, in line with the industry that I'm in and have been in various other businesses. So if you're not on LinkedIn, get on there. It is a virtual networking tool, whether you have a job and you're an entrepreneur working at a business, at a firm, or you're an entrepreneur. You will, if you work it, and it's not hard, again, you will make certain connections. And you have to be intentional sometimes as well, but it's a tool to have in your toolkit. Or is it toolbox? Toolkit and toolbox. So next, who we have, everybody's special, right? On this panel, but Adrian is like an app developer from Udemy, and so that's, he's just, it's amazing. So we're going to have Adrian talk about his wonderful virtual AP. You're going to tell us what that is and why it's super, super, super helpful.
Sure. So if I could share my screen here, then I can actually show you guys what virtual AP is. And we can actually go back to the beginning, what Kalina was talking about. AP stands for accounts payable. So that's any type of materials, any stationery, if you need to buy a laptop, any kind of cost that your company makes, that falls under accounts payable. Let me share my screen here real quick. You guys see it all right? All right. So basically, what was happening before, shelter in place, before COVID hit, we used to have everything on a stack of paper. So as estimates and invoices came along, people used to sign it manually on paper and then pass it to the next person to approve. Obviously, when we had to work from home, that couldn't work. You can't drive to the next person's house. So what we came up with within our organization was virtual AP. So if you think about, like I said, a stack of paper, each one of these represents something that is in my tray. We have a virtual tray here. Make sense? So what we wanted to do was, and I can just show you a quick demo of this. Oops, let's go back. So if I just pull this up, we can see this is the information that we're putting for this particular workflow. And in the middle here, you have the different steps that it has to go through. So I created the workflow. You see on the right-hand side, we have different estimates. So these are all the different files that, Kalina is firing off at me in the QuickBooks application. We need somewhere to store it so that, we're not having to dig through our emails to go back and retrieve that information and figure out, okay, what was it from this person? We have a central location, kind of like what Dante was talking about with Dropbox and OneDrive, where all of the files that are related to this particular thing that we're ordering are centrally stored. And again, you can see just by this middle section here, it goes through what we call a workflow. So we start with the workflow, we get any estimates, create a purchase order if that's necessary, and then somebody else may have to approve it. So right now we're just waiting for the invoice to be sent. So this is kind of how it works. What I can do is show you a quick demo. I know we're short on time today, but basically this just kind of walks you through all of the different functionality that Virtual AP includes. So on the left-hand side here, I can change my password at any time. We don't want other people signing in as me. If I don't like this look, then I can actually change it to a different color. All right. On the right-hand side, this is important. This is where I'm going to upload my signature. So instead of having to print something off, sign it, scan it back in, I can just use a one click, which automatically adds my signature with a date and time stamp. So we're going to walk through and actually show how this works. So I would start a new workflow, enter the information. And you see this blue box here? This is where it can integrate with other databases. So for this particular client, they have a database called MRI, which pulls all of this information. So I don't have to enter it twice. And on the right-hand side, like we said, we have different files that we can upload that are all related to this one particular thing that we're ordering. Okay, so once that's saved, you'll notice that we come to a different screen here, and now we have more information that we can enter. And we already talked about assigning to different users. Right, we talked about the files. At the top, this is where it becomes important. So instead of having to dig through emails or pull out the filing cabinet, we can actually search for any information. Let's do this, right? So this is going to show us all the information related to whatever we're searching for. And this is where we're finding that time is being saved. So instead of having to keep searching for everything, it's all stored within this one database. All right. And I'll just show you a real quick tool that we have. This is just a quick overview of some of the different types of information that could be relevant to your company. So we see that every department has a certain number of workflows that they've entered. And you can see dollar amount, how long it's taking each particular person. So like Dante said, this was all built in Bermuda. This is my company, Supertone Innovation. And we've released it to 2 clients, and we're working on the 3rd one right now. So that was it.
I like anything to make it easier, more transparent. I love those reports. I love to see that you can see who's holding up everything. It's always the boss probably holding up, and I'm just kidding. But it's good. I like it. I like it. Guys, we're coming to the end. It's 1:50. We have about 10 minutes left. If you have any questions, this has been an extraordinarily quiet group. And I'm believing and I'm knowing that is because we are so clear, succinct, and the information was just being absorbed 100%. But if there is a question, shoot it. I'm going to wait about 10 seconds. And if it's not, I'm going to say goodbye. Any last parting words from any panelist?
There's a few questions in the question box.
Oh,
yeah.
I want to know if there's going to be a recording of this.
there is a recording. I have no idea where to get it from. But we can.
It will be sent out.
It will be sent out, exactly. We're just going to send it to you. Yes, and what else may I ask if there will be an e-certificate to be provided after? I don't think so. So this webinar is for information purposes. It's not, an accredited course or anything like that. But I could be wrong. I doubt it. I could be wrong. But is Kelsey online? No.
Yeah, there's no certificate per se. But if it's work related and your boss possibly might just ask for proof.
I
Yeah.
will say for the last webinars that we have been holding, people have been asking for certificates. There has been an uptake recently. I'm not sure why, but there has been ones done. So I want to say that Kelsey would be able to do certificates for this as well.
Yeah, shoot us an email. Shoot us an email specifically so we can get onto that. If it doesn't come out automatically, we're always changing. Just like you as a business, we're always evolving and getting feedback and working accordingly. Yeah, any parting words, guys? I don't see any more questions. I want to thank.
There's one last question. One last question. Are you going to send a list of the apps? So that will come in the presentation.
Yeah, we'll send it. We'll send the
Yes.
all the presentations out. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time out and imparting the knowledge of the apps that you use that makes your life a lot easier, saves you money and time. So, audience, hopefully you got your earful and some stuff to consider. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Did you stop the recording?
I don't know how on this bad boy.
Does it just automatically?
I'm just gonna leave it, right? If I leave, then it's stop.
Yeah, I think if we leave, it should just save, right?
Yeah. I'm leaving. I'll see you guys in a bit. Much love.
Yeah.